Book 1, Bazur's Plot. Chapter 21. Sarah, now it's your turn. Seafarer turned to me and said, Now it's your turn, Sarah. See that other rock? The one that looks identical to Velrin's one by Tara there. That is likely his twin, Velria. So I will teach you now a simpler spell. I hope that does the trick. I looked at him and picked out from my pocket the wand given by Elder Bear. He looked at it curiously, but did not say anything. He also signed Jack to come closer and said, Come, it is important for you to also hear this and start learning too, since we do not know yet how are we going to save all the creatures. So even Sarah is doing the spell. Please follow up carefully with everything. Jack nodded and took a position where he would not be in the way, but could see and hear everything well. I said, Wait, let me take the halfling's leaf and give one to Jack too. Seafarer waited until we were both chewing the leaves and continued. So point out your wand, then toward the stone, and then chant following. But when you are chanting, your mind needs to be empty and concentrate just on this. The same way you move creatures from one place to another. So empty your mind and picture also that the chant has already worked and you see this creature waking up. Words are, truth beneath, now break the guise, awaken form and open your eyes. I looked at him and repeated in my mind a couple times the words. Thank goodness I had the memory enhancer. That made it very easy to remember things and adapt. I pointed out the wand to the stone and took a deep breath to calm myself, and another, and felt really nervous. I took one more and felt calmness to come over me. I closed my eyes for just a moment to ensure I could see the stone changing, just like Seafarer had done a moment ago, and chanted the word quietly. Truth beneath, now break the guise, awaken form and open your eyes. And I saw the gray stone disappear, and I saw a small elf girl laying there in a curl trying to open her eyes. I kneeled and gave remedy for her lips, to her lips. Tears came to my eyes when I saw her waking up slowly, looking at us with questions in her eyes. I saw her twin brother. She saw her twin brother and yelled with the tiny cracking voice, Velrin! She tried to get up, but she could not. I kneeled in front of her and said, Here, Velria, take a little more remedy to help your body to work again. It is your family's remedy. She looked at me with doubting eyes, but opened her mouth anyway to take a sip. The medicines from underground elves were so powerful. It took no time at all for her to be able to start moving her body and her legs work again. She was still very stiff like Velrin, but at least they were able to function. My heart was bursting out of happiness. Two of the creatures were unspelled, and that just made the moment amazing. After a moment, I thought of something and looked up at Seafarer. Okay, so the short spell works. How do I recognize if the natural elements are cursed or not? Seafarer looked at me and Jack and said, Well, I teach you both now how to recognize them. You both are new to chanting and magic, so it tends to be draining in the beginning. I think you do so that Jack starts to identify the chant once, and Sarah, you chant them back to life. And then tomorrow or other day, you will switch up. That will allow you both to rest. I think we also need more medicine and hopefully someone from underground elves healers or couple to come help to dose the medicines to awaken ones. What do you say, Tora? Dora looked at him and replied, yes, I was about to take the twins to underground elves and ask their help. You can continue here with this crew until we come back. He turned to Morbairns and said, would it be okay if one of you would carry me and twins back to underground hiding place? And could we get two of the Capritors to scout the safe route? Dora looked at others and waited. I just noticed that I did not see any Capritors around. I guess they were scouting. But as soon as I thought of it, one was standing almost in front of me. I don't understand how they managed to move at the lightning speed and so silently. Very impressive. Capritor nodded and Garnock Morbairns moved in front of the twin elves and laid flat in front of them. Others helped them to Morbairns back, and Dora jumped behind to secure them into their place with his hands. Elves are normally very good jumpers and quick on their feet, but twins were very stiff and still recovered. Dora said, thank you so much. We will see you shortly. I must have looked stunned looking after them when the Capritors and Garnock moved so quickly and quietly to the woods. They were so fast that I kept staring the place that they were just there, but they were actually already gone. Wow. I looked at Jack and I saw that he was as stunned as me. Our eyes met and I said, we better focus on our task as long as the leaves still have effect on our memory and ability to adopt new things. Both of us turned to Seafarer and looked at him. He looked pleased and walked a little further to the beach, to the rocks, and said, well, you know, they can be anywhere. And I sense there is a lot in this beach. I heard from Tara that this used to be a very popular place for creatures to come, and that is why Bazur has gotten so many cursed ones here. Anyway, the idea is that you will need to check everything around from the trees, rocks, etc. Good news is that after a while, you start to get drawn toward the spelled ones, the cursed ones, since you start to recognize their energy, aura, and it feels familiar. So this gets easier when you get more practice. We both looked around at the beach. That did not look like beach. That did look like a beach out of fantasy world, but otherwise it did not look suspicious at all. I could not tell which ones were cursed objects and which not. Well, gotta start somewhere, I thought, and I focused back to Seafarer. First of all, Seafarer started. You need to look for aura. That helps you to later start recognizing the suspicious ones really quickly. How to see aura? Let's practice. Come. We followed in front of one tree growing in the beach. See this tree? We both nodded. He continued. Now close your eyes and try to feel with the other senses than your eyes the tree. Feel how it feels. It is easier to learn to see aura when you block the sense that normally is responsible for doing that, in this case, eyes. I concentrated on the tree in front of me. I don't know if it is this place or leaves. We got to enhance our concentration, but I did feel easily what he meant. Seafarer continued. When you feel the aura, open your eyes and squint a little bit your eyes to see roundish area around the tree. You may need to move a little bit further away since the tree has quite large aura. Do you see it? Both of us had opened our eyes and moved a little bit backwards. I did see a faint golden aura. I see it, I explained and pointed. There's a golden round going about there. I looked at Seafarer, who nodded to me and said, "Good. Is that correct, Jack? Do you see aura?" Jack looked a little unsure and said, "I do see something round, but I don't see golden color," Seafarer asked. "What color or what do you see?" Jack squinted and said, "It's almost translucent without colors." Seafarer nodded again. "That is also correct. You see auras differently. Sarah sees the colors, but you, Jack, see the aura's energy field, kind of moving around without colors. So not to worry, both ways work. Now both. Look at the aura. Can you categorize it as being very slow and stable, or more kind of shimmering quicker and almost restless?" We looked at him again, and to the tree and back to him. I felt doubt rising in me. How I was to recognize something different in this aura, Seafarer saw how I felt. I guess he just understood what I felt, since he said to me, "Just do your best. That's all what is needed." So I did. I looked the aura again. I squinted my eyes and moved my head to see better. And after a while staring, well, this feels that it is more vibrant than stagnant. Jack, what do you think? Jack said. I would say agree the same. Seafarer said, "Good job, both. Yes, that means that this is likely chanted one. So the stagnant, slower auras are likely to be non-living things. Look at this stone right here by the tree. The aura, see how the aura is different." Again, we squinted and felt the aura. And I said, "I can feel the aura and I see it, but it's not really moving." "What about Jack? What about you, Jack?" Jack said, "Yes, the same. It is just still." Okay, so I guess that made sense that non-living had aura, but it was just there, I thought. Okay, now that we have identified a potential creature, this aura recognition is what I meant by it, what I meant that will get easier in time. You can start to be drawn to vibrant auras after a while when just walking by, that will help this step a lot. The next step is then to see if it's really cursed creature. Ready? He looked at us. We nodded, felt the pressure to learn as soon as possible so we could not run out of leaves or Seafarer's land sickness medicine. Seafarer started. Okay, so place the hand on the object. You can touch it or just aim your hand toward the object. Hold your palm toward the object like this and say, "If living soul still lingers near, let heart be heard, let presence be clear." You can also just point your palm of your hand, or even your wand. And once you say that, feel if your palm feels warm or your wand will come warm. However, the first time, it is easiest to feel with the palm itself. If the palm is getting warm or twinkly, then it is a cursed creature. And once you do this many times, you will start to learn this step almost merged with aura check, so that you can skip this one and go to uncursing directly. We nodded. Seafarer said, "Jack, you stay with this tree. Sarah, you go to the mushroom over there." Okay, now try. I looked at him and asked, so I skipped the aura? Seafarer said, "Well, this chant will tell you if it is a living creature in, but aura check will help you to identify from these vast forests which ones you must check. And later you can skip this one when aura reading starts to be good enough and you know that there is a living thing cursed." I looked at Seafarer for a moment and said, "Ah, I felt such a realization. Of course, makes sense. Great. Let me check the mushroom's aura first." Jack and I both tried chanting our own object. Jack replied, "Yes, it is living. I got the feeling this is an old man. Is it true that I can feel something like that additionally?" Seafarer looked slowly at Jack and said, "Yes, he is an old man. It is correct. You must have some wizard blood in you. Good job. Go ahead now and uncurse him too. You both need a couple of practices straight away, and then only it's time to get organized so that one of you checks uh, only one thing." I looked at Seafarer. "I don't think this is a living thing." Seafarer smiled. "No, that is not. Go to the next one." I smiled and moved a little bit further to a cluster of smaller rocks close to the water. Jack cleared his throat and spoke, looking at us both. "I have not tried awakened spell yet. I don't have a wand, and I don't have medicine either." I I took from the pouch small bottle of the medicine and asked if there was more. Since no answer came, I asked for an empty bottle that was there. I poured half of the liquid into the new empty bottle and handed it to Jack. "Here, now we have a little for both of us. I hope Tora brings back some more then." Seafarer nodded and looked into Jack's eyes. "You clearly have a wizard blood in you. I don't use wands. It is okay to use since it helps to guide energy more precisely, especially in the beginning, toward the object. But some prefer not to have one. So close your eyes and ask yourself, do you want a wand?" Jack said, looking puzzled, but closed his eyes and took a few deep breaths. He opened his eyes and said, "No, I feel that I don't want one. What do I do then? Do I point out my hand or what?" Seafarer nodded. "You can, especially in the beginning, point your palm of your hand, but also you will learn how it works for you the best. You can, for example, just point your palm toward the object, since the palm is very sensitive to magic." And silence fell between us, and we just stood there for a while. I jumped out to action to see if any other rocks in the cluster were living things. I heard noises behind. When Jack woke up the old man, he looked almost as like a tree creature as well. He was very confused and not happy to see human, but I rushed over to calm him down with one of the morbears. Tree man was very upset. He seemed to think that Jack was Bazur. That did not. That did make sense, and he was angry. Finally, he calmed down enough that he understood that this was a rescue team. He then realized to ask, "Where's my wife?" Tara started to interview him where he had last seen her, so we could possibly find her as well. I saw Jack and Tara were checking nearby potential non-living things to find Freeman's wife. I don't know how long we did this, checking and cursing. Seafarer walked between Jack and I and oversaw how we worked. Jack and I kept going at the beach from one end to another to all possible objects, seeing first the aura, then chanting with the spell if there was indeed a living thing, and then chanting with the spell to wake up the creatures and giving medicine from the underground elves. It broke my heart to see how many creatures were cursed to this beach alone, the small part of the beach we were doing at the moment. I remember Tara said that it was a popular place, but this seemed really a lot. I felt a hand on my shoulder. I saw Tara looking at me. "Hey, Sarah, you're doing a good job. Are you overwhelmed that there are so many creatures here?" I started to cry. I could not help it. I sobbed and nodded. Tara held me in her arms. It was funny feeling since all went pitch black around me in her lap. It felt strangely good. She did not say anything, just let me cry. And after a while she spoke. I came to get you to eat lunch by the river. Seafarer is on his boat. The medicine wore out, and he cannot be on land anymore. I raised my head. I still have some more for him, but I reserve it for his return trip. Tara nodded and guided me toward the small fire by the shore. I smelled food. I could also hear my stomach rumble.